Good morning, students. My name is Victor, your personal mathematics tutor, and I'll be taking you on a topic called function today. And I would like you to pay attention, and I also like you to check out my other video. I've done a little bit of introduction to function in my last video about the domain, the codomain, the image, and uh, what function is all about. But I'm going to introduce it a little again. So the relationship between two variables is known as function, especially when it deals with a graph. And when we are dealing with graph, we are going to be looking at the x and y. So the x is usually the input, while the y is the output. So the input is the domain, while the output is the range. It's just like the equation given to you here. Y is equal to 2x plus 1. This is a typical example of equation of a straight line. Y is equal to mx plus c. Now, in this equation, x is the independent variable, but y is dependent. You need x to know what y is. So at this function, we say that the x is the input, while the output is y. We're okay. So that is what we know. So the domain here is x, and the codomain is y. The image is x, while the y is pre-image. Okay, so I'm not going to say much on that now. So I'm going to proceed. Here is a typical example of relationship between x and y. So if you have x, if x is 3, for example, if you put it there, your y will be 7. So if x is 3, if you put it there, automatically your y will be 7, like what I just said. So it can be more efficient to use the function notation instead of using diagram, but using function notation to write it. So you have something like this, f of x. F of x meaning when x is inputted in this, it is going to give you what y is. So when you have f of x, and that's an f of 2, when you put 2 where x is, it should be able to give you 13. So you can also say that f of x is also equivalent to y. Did you get it now? F of x is equivalent to y. So, but it means that f of x is what will give me y. So if I can find what x is and put it in the given equation, I'll get what my y is. So that is how you'll be able to do the basic definition. So can you try this? If f of my negative 5 is inputted in this equation of f of x, what do we get? In other words, they're telling you if x is negative 5, what will you get? I'll give you a few seconds to try it. You can pause the video and try it, then you check out the answer. So this will be the answer when you put it that negative. You have to be careful when you're dealing with sign. So negative 5 squared is going to give you 25, and 25 times 3 will give you 75, and 75 plus 1 will give you 76. And that is how it works. So when you have something like this also, f of 0.9, you can pause the video and try to do it yourself too. If you're able to get it, you know you have gotten how to do the basic function equation. So when you put it there, you have to be careful with the signs and be able to do that. So this same thing, you can apply it here, pause the video, also try it yourself and know if you can get it. And when you are done, you can now come up and check it out and see how the answer is. If you have any issue, you can look back again and get it. Pause this one also and do it yourself. Okay. Your answer will be 5. So when f of negative 30, so it's going to give you this, and this. I love mathematics. So this is a little bit complex. So can you attempt this one yourself? You put 9 there and try to know whether you're going to get it. Pause the video, solve it, and you get back to me. Okay. Now, see how it's going to be. You put 9 there. You have to be careful when you're dealing with the board marks. You solve what is inside the bracket first, then open it, and you get your answer. Good. So you can attempt this one later on your own, and you'll be able to. You just basic, just put the It's just like substitution. Um, it's just a substitution. You're finding the input. Now they can make it a little bit complex. They say that f of x is this. Now they now have to find the value of a when f of a is equal to negative 18. So they are trying to tell you that where s is, you should replace it, substitute with a. Then you create the answer you get with negative 18. Then you solve for a. Exactly what I just said here. So when you now do it, you take you take negative 4 to the other side, you give positive 4. So negative 4 plus negative 18 will give you negative 14. That's why we're able to get negative 14. Divide both side by 7 and get your negative 2. Very easy. The same thing here. They say f of b is equal to negative 14. Exactly what you did on the other one. Only that in this case, you are going to have something that's like quadratic equation. So at this point, you can use any of the formula. If you are still having challenges with solving quadratic equation, you can check out my old videos where I've taught how you can use formula method, how you can use factorization method, how you can use completing the square form to be able to get it. So using factorization method, you can be able to look for two numbers, and when you add it to give you negative 7, multiply it to give you 12. And those two numbers is negative 3 and negative 4. So and that is how you'll be able to get your answer. You can also check your answer. That is the beauty of it. You can check your answer in the equation. You can input your 3 there and know whether you're going to give you the answer, and you put your 4 there and know whether you give you the answer. You can try this for yourself. You can pause the video, try it, and know whether you get it. After, you can now play the video again. It's actually very easy mathematics. We can be able to just solve it and be able to get the answer. Now, like I said in the last video, I actually talked about what domain is. But I said that the domain of the function is the input, which is also the x, why the some function must have a domain because you cannot substitute all members into it. Yes, they must have a domain, must have a range, like how far you are ready to go or in a particular number. But not all of them that require a domain if you want the number to continue, depending on the graph or what you are giving. Let me give you example. Let me think of example that, for example, everybody needs money. And but when you want to do a project, there's a particular money that you need for that project. So if somebody wants to come and ask you, do you need money? I say, yes, I need money. How much do you need? You actually need unlimited supply of money till you die to do everything you want to do. That is it. But when you are asked specifically, how much do you need for your house rent? Then you now find out they are limited you. So when that limitation occurs, that is what they call the domain. How much will I give you so that I can be able to rent a house? So you now find out that how much they will give you becomes um, independent. But how many houses you rent becomes dependent. For example, if they give you $1,000, the apartment you are going to rent will be different from when you give it $500. So that becomes the independent. The apartment you rent depends on the amount you are paid. This is a basic mathematics analogy of function. So when you have a a linear graph like this, a cubic graph like this, and exponential graph like this. For example, the cubic graph and a linear graph, if it's not restricted, the domain keep going. It does not end. But the exponential function always going to have a domain because it cannot be negative. You're always going to be positive. Okay, that is what this is all about. And the same happened to the range. The same happened to the range. The range can be linear, cubic, and exponential. So when there is a range of quadratic, there's always going to be the minimum value or the maximum value. I'm going to set another video to talk about very well on about the domain, the codomain, the range, and this and how you can be able to get it. I would like you to pause the video, try to attempt every of these worksheet that I just gave you so that it will help you to understand the introduction part of um, a function. The next video, I'm going to be talking about the composite function. I pray that you watch them. Do enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you.